Welcome back to the 9th Gym program, and today we are continuing the Crown Tundra Guide series with Landorus. Now, we are not talking about the dog form, the Landorus Therian, so if that's what you're looking for, you know what, I already covered it anyway, so click the little link in the top right, it'll take you right there. Anyway, Landorus, this Pokemon is okay, and by okay, I mean very okay. Its stats are pretty mediocre. It does have good damage output, you know, as far as attack and special attack both go, and its typing is very good. It has a good ability. It has all the workings of a good Pokemon, but not a crazy good Pokemon like how Landorus Therian is. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. So, ground flying, this is the thing that it shares with regular Landorus Therian, rather, is the typing ground flying, which is very, very solid. You do have one 4x weakness of ice and one regular weakness of water, but you also have 3 resistances and 2 immunities, and it's very, very strong offensively, giving you a lot of really good moves. Now, unfortunately, you do have Sheer Force, which is a good ability, but when I say unfortunately, there are no flying moves that this Pokemon can take advantage of Sheer Force. So typically this Pokemon will take a special attacking roll, which is a lower you know, damage output for this Pokemon. I mean, looking at its stats in the top right corner, special attack at 115 and regular attack at 125, so obviously special attack is a little bit lower, but it has moves like Earth Power and Sludge Bomb and Psychic that can take advantage of the Sheer Force ability, when as far as physical Landorus goes, Earthquake doesn't take advantage of it, Rock Slide does, but you have moves like Fly that doesn't take advantage of it, and overall it just becomes like a Pokemon without an ability essentially, which is kind of unfortunate. It does have a different ability that's kind of cool, which is Sand Force, that just gives it like a little bit more damage during a sandstorm, so that's kind of cool. You know, you have that in like that with like Tyranitar. Lando Tyranitar could be kind of cool. Maybe that's something I'll explore a little into at some point, but for now what we're talking about is Sheer Force Lando. So let's talk about stats real quick, and then I'll move on. So also, I didn't explain Sheer Force. So Sheer Force, all moves with a secondary ability gains 30% damage, so essentially a Life Orb boost, but lose that secondary effect. So it's something that has like a 30% chance to flinch, like Rock Slide, then boom, you get that. If you have a 30% chance to lower the special defense, like Earth Power, then boom, you get the 30% boost, but then you lose that secondary effect, which is fine. It's a very fair trade-off for this Pokemon. Also, key thing to note, max moves do not affect this. Even though all max moves have a secondary effect, it does not affect Sheer Force, so good to know. Anyway, let's talk about these stats real quick before we move on. So, as far as defense goes, it's not very bulky across the board. HP at 89, defense at 90, and special D at 80. It's pretty average, a little below average overall, but overall, you know, not too shabby. As long as you're not getting smacked with a big ice attack, you're probably living a couple of attacks, which is pretty good. You know, even things like Muddy Water from, you know, big Pokemon right now like Tapu Fini, you're probably living, which is pretty good. So, even like at non-Dynamax, you're like, it's average bulk. As far as damage output, special attack at 115 is what we're mostly looking at. There are physical builds. I don't have any physical builds prepared today, but they are 125 attack as well. And then speed at 101 is pretty competent speed tier, you know, outspeeding those base 100 Pokemon, which is very, very rampant. I've talked about this many times. Being able to naturally outspeed that is very solid. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the overview. Let's go ahead and move on. So I have 2 builds prepared today. So the first one is going to be a Choice Scarf, kind of mixed attacking set, which is really weird. I'll explain a little bit more in depth here in a moment. And then the second one is just the standard Life Orb Sheer Force, you know, physical or special attacking build that can Dynamax. I made this just a little bit big. I just realized that because you can't see the last move there. It's fine, it's just Protect, but still, yeah. Anyway, so the first build that we have prepared is the Choice Scarf mixed attacking set. Now, this is a really weird set, and I know that, but I'll explain. So, I wanted to take advantage of the ability Sheer Force, right? So I went Earth Power and Sludge Bomb, but I don't really have any other usage for that other than Earth Power and Sludge Bomb, not having any like Air Slash or you know, any kind of like good move that switches out like Sucker Punch or Parting Shot. Nothing really weird for this Pokemon. So, you know, using choice items is kind of weird and kind of bad for this Pokemon, but I decided to patch that up a little bit by giving it Rock Slide and a little bit of attack investment. That way you have, you know, a useful kind of like move there as well. That can also do damage, but it's also fast flinches for this Pokemon, which is really good. So I decided I wanted Rock Slide really bad on the set, and instead of going for like a modest set, or even timid or jolly or anything that could minus either of our attacks, I decided to just say, oh well, we'll be a little squishy, and I went Lonely Nature, giving it a little bit minus on the defense. That is physical defense. You can change that to, I think, like naive. What is the other? Naive? I don't know. I think it's naive or something. For minus special defense instead, but still minus attack. Yeah, it's fine. And also another very interesting thing about Choice Scarf to the Life Orb build, it actually hits most of the same damage calcs. Hitting 2 shots on a lot of relevant Pokemon. You do give up a little bit of damage here and there on very relevant calcs, but overall on the most relevant calcs, you are still hitting the same damage relatively, because instead of like 80%, you're hitting 55%, which is still enough to take a competent 2-hit KO. When without it, what do you do? What does 80% really matter unless your side Pokemon's like a Dazzling Gleam, or something like that, something weird. Anyway, so that's kind of my reasoning on the Landorus mixed attacking set. It's kind of it's definitely a hot take on a Lando set, but I think it was cool. So I wanted to say it. For the actual spread, the EV spread, we went 28 attack plus nature with Lonely Nature, and then 252 special attack, just so you can still hit the really relevant damages with Sludge Bomb and Earth Power on things like Rillaboom and, Nihilego, stuff like that. And then we also have 228 speed, which gets us to 225 with Choice Scarf, which outspeeds the Pheromosa as well as base Regieleki, because a lot of people are not using any speed investment in their Regieleki, and it also outspeeds Dragapult, Choice Scarf Dracovish, a whole bunch of stuff that we will cover here in a moment in the speed tier section, which will come directly after this part of the video. Anyway, that is about it for the first one. Oh, I also added U-Turn because I think U-Turn is very solid on a Choice Scarf Pokemon, just because you can, if you're in danger, you U-Turn, switch out. Of course, that does give away knowledge that it is Choice Scarf most of the time, depending on the Pokemon that are out on the field and if your opponent knows their speed tiers, but it's still pretty good, and U-Turn is definitely good on that set. Anyway, that is it for the first set. Let's go ahead and talk about the second set. So Lando, Life Orb, Sheer Force, 4 HP, 252 into special attack and speed. Very basic, build overall. Timid Nature just to be as fast as possible without, supplements like Choice Scarf. And then we have a very basic attack lineup as well. Moveset being Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Psychic, and Protect. All 3 of these do get that secondary boost from the Sheer Force. You also get the boost from Life Orb, and Earth Power has the boost of the stab boost. So your Earth Power is going to be very strong. You're going to be stacking a 50%, a 30%, and another 30% damage boost on there, which is very, very good. That's very solid. Another big plus of Life Orb is it gives you really the more applicable to become a Dynamax Pokemon, because as Choice Scarf Pokemon, you're not getting any value out of your item or your ability. So if you max the first build of Lando, you're just missing out on so much. You're losing your ability and your item. You're pretty much just playing Let's Go at that point. So that's not really worth it. But this one, giving up Sheer Force is fine. You're still getting Life Orb. You're still getting good max move abilities, things like Max Ooze, Max Quake. You're still getting a lot of really good value out of your max moves, so it's still viable max, just not as good as a lot of other maxes would be. So yeah, that is the big ups and downs of both these builds. Let's go ahead and talk about some customization real quick. So as you can see here on the top right, we have other moves that you can use, things like Focus Blast, Weather Ball, Stone Edge, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and Substitute. Let's explain these a little bit. So the first 2 are other coverage moves for special attacking Pokemon. As you can see, both these sets are special attacking. Of course, the first one is mixed, but the second one is mono special attacking. So those are just options for coverage if you want those. If you think you're going to max your Lando more, you can go for Focus Blast if you have physical attacking Pokemon on your side. That way you can get big attack boosts there, which can be good. You also have Weather Ball, which can be cool on on a corresponding team with weather that you want that coverage for, so that can be good as well. And then I just wanted to add a couple of physical attacking options, because you can definitely run this Pokemon physical attacking with things like Stone Edge, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Swords Dance potentially as well. And I just think Substitute's cool, so I added that there. As far as the items go, we do have a couple of items that you can use. I would probably stick to the items that I used, but you can differ from it a little bit. Things like Focus Sash and Yachi Berry to help you live, especially the ice attacks. And then we also have Choice Band, which can be a cool option, or Choice Specs. All can be a cool option with the Sheer Force boosts. You can get a lot of damage out doing those, so that can be good. Anyway, that is it for the movesets and customization. Let's talk about these two synergetic Pokemon before we move on. So first off, I have Kartana. Kartana just helps you hit those weaknesses, those ice Pokemon and the water type Pokemon. You have good coverage against both of them with steel stab moves as well as grass stab moves. So Kartana is great for that. Also, if you're pairing this with a special attacking Lando, which is most likely what you're going to be doing, you're not going to be getting intimidated on one of the Pokemon. You know, they go for an intimidate on the on your guy, your Kartana that I couldn't think of there, with like an Incineroar. Then you're just like, okay, Landorus, take it out with an Earth Power, Max Quake it, do a lot of damage, if not kill it. So that is really good there. And then our second one is Incineroar. Incineroar is just very basic. You know, it works really well. It's damage deafening with the Intimidate, Parting Shot potentially as well. Fake Out's good as well. And Landorus covers its weakness of ground because of its immunity to ground with Fly, or its flying type. So that is very good. So it just, you know, that one's a lot more generic, but still a viable synergy. Anyway, that is it for this. Let's move on to some speed tiers. So speed tiers, like I said, it's a pretty competent speed tier to be at. Even without Choice Scarf, we are hitting 168, which is faster than a lot of Pokemon. Currently, you know, we have a lot of things in that 150 to 160 realm, you know, a lot of them, so that is pretty good. Let me go ahead and pull up a little thing so I can just say a couple real quick. Excadrill, Lando T, we got Tapu Lele without Scarf, we got Arcanine, Mimikyu, we got a bunch of Pokemon, Tapu Fini, Rillaboom Max Speed, and DD Max Speed, which doesn't happen very frequently, but they are there. You know, a couple of weird Pokemon in that 130 to 150 range, things like Xurkitree, you know, Venusaur without its sun, you know, a lot of 105s. So it's a pretty okay speed tier to be at. You're still getting outsped by a good bit of Pokemon, things like Nihilego, Kartana, Ninetales Alola, Thundurus, Cinderace, Dracovish at Scarf, Dragapult, Regieleki, Pheromosa. But you are outspeeding all those Pokemon with the Choice Scarf of Landorus. Hitting that 225 range is pretty solid, and that's not even with max investment. You are still getting outsped by a couple of Pokemon at that range, though. You know, Lando T at Scarf, which does not seem very popular this format. We also have things like Regieleki with speed, investment, and Venusaur, you know, Excadrill, Kingdra, those things under their correct weather are still outspeeding Lando. So even though Choice Scarf Lando is very, very fast, you are still undersped by a couple of things there, you know, which is pretty relevant, but could be more relevant. Anyway, that is it for the speed tiers. Let's move on to the damage calc. So the first three I have is our weird mixed build, and then the second two after that is Life Orb damage, damage dealing, and I'll show off how similar they are, and then the last one's just to show how squishy it is to ice type. So first off, we have 252 special attack Sheer Force Lando Sludge Bomb into 252 HP Assault Vest Rillaboom with 4 special D investment. We are hitting 53 to 62, which is a guaranteed 2-hit KO even after the grassy terrain recovery, so that is very, very strong. We also have then the 252 special attack Sheer Force Lando Earth Power into a 236 HP 236 plus special D Incineroar, hitting 72 to 85, which once again is a very competent guaranteed 2-hit KO, which is very, very good there. Next, we have the 28 plus attack Sheer Force Lando Rock Slide into a 4 HP 0 defense non-Dynamaxed Zapdos. I know this is weird, but if you can catch the read, or, you know, you wait out their Dynamax, which you can do with pretty good, you know, defensive play. Zapdos isn't doing a lot of damage, so you can definitely outlive its Dynamax, which is good. But you're hitting a guaranteed 2-hit KO on that Zapdos once it's non-Dynamax, which is very, very good. So yeah, that's really cool. And being mixed attacking, you know, they're gonna Quake. Well, I mean, Zapdos doesn't have Quake, but, you know, a Pokemon could Quake a bunch, and then you're just like, Rock Slide, gotcha, haha. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, next we have the special attacking Life Orb, Sheer Force, Lando, Earth Power into the same Incineroar as earlier, hitting 93 to 110, so you do have a 56% chance to OHKO instead of the guaranteed 2-hit KO, but you're only hitting an OHKO 56% of the time, so, you know, it's a pretty similar damage calc as before. And then the second one is very, very similar. We are hitting 252 special attack Life Orb, Sheer Force, Lando, Sludge Bomb, that's a long one, into 172, that should be 252 by accident. I messed that up. But, you know, we're only hitting 72 to 85%, which is still a guaranteed 2-hit KO after Grassy Terrain Recovery. So it is the same as if you didn't have the Life Orb, if you went for the Choice Scarf and took away a little bit of investment out of the speed and put it into the attack. So that's why I think the mixed attacking spread is really cool. It's very spicy indeed, because not a lot of people will, you know, expect that Rock Slide out of you. Maybe they'll see the U-turn coming because it's more of a usage thing, but, you know, it's still cool. Anyway, next we have Tapu Fini Ice Beam into our Lando with 4 special attack, still hitting 94 to 113. I just wanted to go ahead and show off how squishy this is to a random Ice Beam from a non-stab, uninvested Pokemon. Be afraid of Ice-type attacks. Nothing new for a Lando player, but still, be afraid of that. Anyway, we're very far into this video, so I'm going to make Single Spotlight pretty quick, as I don't think it's that strong in singles, because it is an Uber in, like, the Smogon series, so, you know, there's better Pokemon you can use in that Uber tier, but this Pokemon is still pretty cool. It has a couple of cool things that you can do. So I went for a Sheer Force Life Orb set, of course, but then I also went for Gravity Calm Mind. So this is pretty cool. Gravity lets you get rid of any ground immunities. That way your Earth Power is always hitting. You have Earth Power taking advantage of Life Orb, Sheer Force, and Stab. And if you can get a Calm Mind up while your opponent's, you know, lacking with the switches and stuff, then you can go ahead and pop off on them with the Earth Power. Crazy stuff. They're going to switch to something thinking they're going to get, you know, an Earth Power to the face and just be immune. And then you're like, Gravity. Yeah, I just used Gravity. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's pretty cool. As far as the spread, it's pretty basic, just 252 into special attack and speed, and then the Timid Nature just to be as fast as possible as well. Leftover 4 and a special D because, you know, why not? It's pretty good. Anyway, that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know it was a little bit long for a you know, a guide, but still, I hope you're here. If you're still here, leave a like, comment, subscribe. It makes a huge difference. Go down into the description and click all those links. They'll bring you to my social medias and Twitch. Twitch streams coming up soon. I know I've been saying that for a little while, but I mean it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did well in the Players' Cup. Have a good weekend, and goodbye. It's midweek, so have a good rest of the week as well. Goodbye.